following program is intended for mature audiences.
Hey, these uniforms are lame, man.
This is the new cut. I'll be back. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Are you freaking serious?
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Not a whole lot happened between the last show and this one.
No. Stanley Cup Finals.
It started, yeah. We have one game in that. But what I mean by that is that, like, there was a little bit of a gap between the championship series of both sports.
Right.
We bitched about the NBA a fair amount last week, you know, which is one of our pastimes, I know.
Well, the NBA's I thought that that game one for the NBA was last night, but apparently it's not till tomorrow.
No, it's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, because they set the schedule ahead of time for these things. I know in the NBA they do. And so no matter how quickly the series start, they wait. And I know this used to be a much bigger problem in the past, where I remember the NBA used to wait forever in between just like the first and second round.
Yeah.
And the first and second rounds would take forever to play. And it just seemed like the NBA playoffs took an eternity to get through. And they fixed it for the most part, except for right here with these finals. It's like we had a 5-game series and a 4-game series, and they haven't played in over a week now.
I could swear that back in the...
Even if those two series had gone a little bit longer, it still would have been like 5 days in between the start of the finals.
I could swear back in the...
It was never going to go... It was never going to go longer. Boston was lucky to stretch it to 5.
Well, yeah. Right.
And I could swear back in the 80s that everything progressed much more quickly. Because the joke used to be that the NHL playoffs were the ones that took forever back then. And it was, and now,
well, TV especially back then, TV for the NBA wasn't nearly as big a deal, so they could just play it whenever everyone was ready. Whereas now, because you've got these big TV deals, you've got to set the schedule before the playoffs.
But am I crazy? Did they not play games on back-to-back nights back then in the playoffs? Or maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, and that's certainly possible.
They used to. And, like, the thing with the finals, with these NBA finals, so we've waited forever to get to game 1, which is tomorrow and Thursday, right?
Yeah, the one's game 2 is like August 1st, right?
Until Sunday.
Yeah, right.
And it's not even a change of location.
No, and then Sunday, game 3 is Wednesday.
Right.
You get, so in a span of 7 days,
you get 3 games. Yeah.
That's insane.
To be fair, in that length of time, the NHL would have already completed a series, assuming it's a sweep.
Yeah. Well, because you get Thursday and then Friday, Saturday, 2 days off before Sunday.
I mean,
there's 2 days off between the first 3 games of the series.
Here's what I'm gonna.
And of course, we've been off. What was the last game of the last series? I'm gonna look it up.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna throw this in. When your playoffs make a baseball season seem short, you've got a problem.
The last game was last Thursday. Was the Cleveland win over Boston?
That was Thursday.
Thursday of last week. Yeah.
So it's gonna literally be a week in between the end of the conference finals and the beginning of the final. Oh my God!
And you had a game every day until the Warriors swept, and then there wasn't a game on Wednesday the 20th. Well, Cleveland won by 20 points on Tuesday. Then there was a day off, and then they won by 33 points on that Thursday. So we've had nothing of consequence in the NBA for over a week now.
Yeah. And
they're going to put extra days off in between the next couple games. Like that's what. But once you get to game 3, then it's every other day, I think, for the most part.
But didn't their season start back in November, like the first week in November? And it's going to be able to see July over the hill by the time it ends, which I think is ridiculous. And I don't know. It's just they've got to. I think it's hard to maintain an interest when it's so drug out like this.
And I was actually wrong. There's 2 days off between every single game except one of them. There's 2 days between 1 and 2, 2 days between 2 and 3.
But don't you think though?
And then just 1 day between 3 and 4. Then 2 days off between 4 and 5, 2 days off between 5 and 6, and 2 days off between 6 and 7.
Don't you think, though, that wouldn't it be a little bit easier to be more interested in it if it had a better pace to it? Like, say, okay, we're going to play Thursday. All right. I'll even allow you the 1 day off in between. Okay, we're going to game 1 Thursday, game 2 Saturday, game 3 Monday, game 4 Wednesday. I mean, I think even that pacing would make it, okay, you got to allow for travel. So, okay, on a travel day, you'll give them 2 days. But when they're, you know, you're doing the home games, 1 day off in between at the most. That's it. Because
the NHL does. The NHL has 1 day off in between every single game.
And I think
there's no reason that the NHL, the Stanley Cup and the NBA Final shouldn't be alternating days at this point.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for that. Like, actually, hold on. Because I know that usually they have an agreement to make sure that they don't play on the same day, but if they're doing it like that, that doesn't seem right. Because I'm almost sure that the Cup Final is every other day.
Well, the NBA doesn't give a shit about.
Well, no, but they've had a long understanding about that. So
I like I said, I just remember that back in the 80s when and basketball's first big heyday, that the joke was the NHL playoffs took forever. That's how badly things have gotten for the NBA.
And the NHL is pretty good about this, so they did just 1 day off between the last game and today. And there's only 1 day off between 3 and 4. But because of this agreement with the NBA finals are all of a sudden going to string out the NHL Stanley Cup finals too. Because they have 2 days off between game 2 and game 3. Then 2 days off between 4 and 5, 2 days off between 5 and 6, and 2 days off between 6 and 7.
It's all, and you know, the majority of the majority of the reasoning for it is that it's about the TV,
100%, yeah,
the ratings. But I don't know, whatever. I know this. I am interested in the NBA Finals because I just really don't like the Golden State Warriors. I just don't. I was watching. They had a thing on The Ringer where they were doing this thing about. I forget, like the most disrespectful plays. It was anything to do with basketball. I mean, it had to do with basketball, obviously, but it wasn't like an analysis or anything. It was, the most disrespectful dunk, and I started watching some of these Warriors clips, and seeing Kevin Durant in that Warriors uniform, it just pissed me off. So I thought, you cheating little punk. I mean, this is I think worse than what LeBron did. I really do.
Well, at least with LeBron, he kind of gave a good explanation where it's like, I never went to college.
Right.
Like, I grew up in Ohio. I was drafted by the only team in Ohio. Like, I needed that experience of going somewhere else to sort of find out who I was. And I understand that. Whereas Kevin Durant was purely, I'm just going to chase a ring.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you think about LeBron's situation back then, he grew up here, and the pressure was on him from the start, when he was got all the way back to, 8th grade. Then he gets drafted by the Cavs, and he's carrying the hopes and dreams of the entire fan base on his back at, 19, 20 years old? I'm surprised he came out the other side of that halfway well-adjusted at all, let alone how well he turned out. How well adjusted he turned out to be. I don't blame him a bit for leaving because that's just too much to throw onto a kid at that age. Durant, you're right. It was just like, who's the best team I can go to? Well, the Warriors. Because I think the Warriors are here with or without Durant at this point, right? Mm-hmm. They're still going to be in the Western Conference. They're still going to represent the Western Conference, whether he's there or not. I don't know. It just aggravated me. So I don't think the Cavs will beat them, but I kind of hope they do. But I don't think they will. I think it's just going to be this soulless march to the inevitable ring for Kevin Durant, and fuck that. But anyway,
I don't know. I've been surprised by the amount of consensus that people think that the Warriors are just going to run over the Cavaliers.
I don't think they're going to run over them. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. I just think that they're going to win this series. I think it could go 6. It might even go 7. But I think I don't know. But then part of me thinks, you know what? The Cavs seem to have more of that old school, like Knicks, 90s Eastern Conference kind of.
How'd they do? How'd they turn out?
Who?
The 90s Knicks.
Well, they made the finals a couple times. What I'm saying is that they have more of that they're tougher. They seem more like physical, and that might work to their advantage against the Warriors. I don't know. Fuck, what do I know about basketball? Baskets still counts for 2 points, right?
Yes.
They're okay, so that's good.
While we're talking about the Cavs, though, we've already talked about their new logo sponsor for next season.
Yeah.
Oh.
But did you see the new logos, Greg?
For the Cavs?
They released a new primary logo before the start of the finals.
Isn't it the same one they've always been using?
No.
Well, let me see. I saw it.
They have a global logo, a primary logo.
I don't even know what that means.
No.
Well, it's gonna be a new thing in the NBA. So let me.
I was so confused when I saw that logo. When I saw that logo sheet, they were calling the primary logo the global logo, and they were calling the alternate logo the primary logo.
Right. So what the NBA is doing now, because they're trying to be such a global brand, the global logo that will be introduced for almost every team, and I guess they've already introduced a few so far with the new teams for next year. That will be the logo that is used outside of the United States, and it's usually the one with the full primary logo and the city and team name. And then the primary logo will be mostly used in a domestic fashion inside the U.S. and Canada.
So the global logo is the shield-looking thing with Cleveland Cavaliers and the C and the sword, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with the black backdrop.
With the black backdrop. And then I see we've finally decided we're going to shoehorn the blue in there and make it one of the actual team colors.
Yeah, so it's great to have a navy blue shadow on the C on a black background. That looks really solid. Then they have a new secondary logo, which is a shield with basketball lines.
Right.
Half navy blue, half, the
yeah, I thought
maroon.
Isn't that the primary logo?
No, that was the secondary logo.
The primary logo is the black shield.
Okay, which one's the global logo?
The global logo is the thing with the shield. The primary logo is the C with the sword.
I gotcha. Okay.
And the secondary logo is the shield with the basketball lines.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This is way more complicated than it needs to be.
It really is, because I feel like I have to take notes.
But here's the thing. Of course, this is one of the many Nike rebrands that we've already seen in the NBA. So if I may, some Nike speak about your new black background shield, Greg.
Of the Cleveland Browns.
The shield itself, the shield.
Oh, God.
The shield represents the Cavaliers' commitment to defend the land. It is a direct nod to the most faithful and passionate Cavaliers fans, including Wine and Gold.
I want to make a point here that actual Cavaliers didn't use shields. Can
I throw another point in here, too? Of all the sixes and all the other silly things that teams have come up with, I'm pretty sure defend the land is the dumbest. Or am I wrong in that?
It's up there.
It's got to be top 5, right?
That's right up there with the rune and the Timberwolves logo representing the wolf and Minnesota.
Right.
That's right up there.
Defend the land. That embarrasses me as someone who lives in Northeast Ohio. That embarrasses me. Actual
Cavaliers used muskets and swords. They didn't use shields. So good job on that one.
Yeah, well, Nike, they're about accuracy, if nothing. I mean, come on.
Well, there's still more to go through here, of course.
Oh, of course, because there always is.
The edges on the font, as you can see, there's a new font being used in that field. The edges, the sharp edges of the Cleveland Cavaliers typeface are inspired from the notions of a defender and the motion of the sword and the aggressive look that it creates.
Oh, my God. Are they serious with this? I mean, seriously, there are 4 or 5 people sitting in an office typing this up going, can you believe this shit? They're laughing their asses off going, wow, look, this is great. Come on.
What does it take? Who gets the job to write this shit? Because that's got to be the easiest fucking gig.
Right. You just pull stuff out of your ass and go, yep, that'll work. And people, okay.
The actual sword of the logo. The sword evokes the spirit of a modern defender, the resilience of Cleveland.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Swords aren't a modern thing. In fact, guns sort of supplanted them.
The C in the logo.
And if I just want to say one more thing on the sword.
Sure.
The sword is there because the actual Cavaliers of history use swords. That is why the sword, no other reason.
The C, the logo C there, the wine one. The C stands for something bigger than the Cavaliers.
What?
It stands for Cleveland, a city united, and represents the Cavaliers' commitment to champion our hometown both on and off the court.
No, the
can I say
there because the team's name is
the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right. Can I say something about the resilience of Cleveland while we're on that topic?
Please
It's not that resilient. I'll tell you why.
The lake caught on fire.
Well, there's that, obviously, but it was the river, not the lake. But, it's not that resilient because when one of the economic things happened, everybody left. And guess what? They're not coming back. The city used to have over 1 million people in its population. It's down to like 520,000. So there's no resilience here. There's people going, I'm catching the first thing smoking out of town if I can get a job somewhere else. Now, if that's resilient, well, okay then. But in my book, that's not. It's
the resiliency of Cleveland, like on display in cases like the drive and the fumble.
And then the final thing.
Well, you got to give them credit for that. I mean, a lot of people would have given up after that stuff, and they stick around and they still follow those ridiculous Browns. I don't get it, and they're not even the real Browns. But don't even get me started on that.
The final thing is the wine and gold, the colors. Wine and gold hues pay homage to the team's first colors in their inaugural 1970 season. Well, navy remains a complementary color, while black is officially introduced as a new and permanent addition to the color palette.
Well, now the wine and gold, that's true.
The explanation there is the team's colors are wine and gold, so we kept the wine and gold.
No. The team's inaugural colors are wine and gold. Let's not forget that the team has been wearing wine and gold since they drafted LeBron. But
they stopped wearing the wine and gold, and I want to say the early 80s, late 70s, somewhere in there.
They went to they could look like the Knicks or something?
They went to the blue and orange, which, it seems very Knicks-based, I think. And then they had the Party Popper uniforms. And when LeBron came back, that's when they switched to the wine and gold again. But now, in fairness to the Cavs and to the fans, they've wanted the wine and gold back pretty much since the day they quit using it. That's been a thing for a very long time. So they finally went back to it.
Orange. I never got the rationale because it just seems like wine and gold was such a unique color scheme that they could have owned. And why look like the Knicks when you can look like the Cavs?
I don't know what that was all about, but I love the wine and gold, and I'm really glad they brought it back. I wish they would go back to the old. The throwback, I call them the Marquette stripes on the sides of the jerseys and the pants. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the better looks in all of NBA history, and that would be a great look for them to go to. But then again, if you do that, you can't sell the throwbacks. So now we've added, 2 more colors?
Yeah, navy and black.
So what are we up to now? That's got to be,
4 plus white.
Yeah, so you got to figure they're going to have about, 17 jerseys next year? Thereabouts, somewhere in there.
Well, you got each jersey. Each color is going to have its own jersey.
Yeah, have the clear.
And then you've got to do the throwback jerseys in the modern colors, and the regular throwback jerseys in the original colors.
Unless we forget the Cav Fanatics uniforms, which are the navy blue ones that are just there because we wanted a navy blue uniform.
Well, you also have to remember that Nike is coming in next year, and Nike doesn't do the sleeves. Nike doesn't do 100 alternate uniforms necessarily. Or maybe they do. We don't know. We don't know what they're going to do with basketball. But
speaking of that, put a pin on this because while we're talking uniforms, we got to talk about all the NHL teams that are going to be changing next year too.
Yeah, it's hard to say with that though.
If it's going to be a big deal or not, I know, but that scares me to death. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't know. Some of them, they literally said it might be just
minor little things.
All tweak. Yeah,
but for the Cavs, why can't Nike just come out and go, hey, look, you know what? We went back to the wine and gold because that's what the fans wanted the most. The font is there because it's proprietary, and that means if you use this font, it belongs to us.
why can't they just say the logo is a C and a sword because the team's name is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Cavaliers use swords, and so a C with a sword seemed like a good idea.
When did this Nike Speak bullshit start anyway? Do you guys even remember the first team that came out and gave us a bunch of...
It was somewhere.
It was definitely college. Yeah. Because college football, because all the templates are the same, you know, they have to kind of like play it up to the fan bases. So that's how we get the University of Arkansas using the iconic jaws of Husky Stadium. And, you know, the Syracuse orange representing the skyscrapers of New York City.
I think that, you know, we've talked about Defend the Land being the dumbest of that type of thing. I think the skyscraper numbers, that's probably the top of the Nike Speak list, right? At least top 5, if not the very best.
My favorite is still the iconic jaws of Husky Stadium.
That's a good one.
That's great. It's a very good thing that we like to throw around.
But, yeah, like...
1-0 Nashville, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Pontus Aberg. Some dude.
Just be the Cleveland Cavaliers and just be like, we used a sword and a C.
That was a nice goal. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
It seemed like a good idea to use a sword and the C. Like, that's all you got. And I don't mind the black in theory because they won their championship wearing black, and so...
Yeah.
And so if you're going to wear black, shouldn't you ditch the blue then? Like just replace the
navy blue? Yeah.
Yeah, just replace the blue with black across the board.
On that shield, the navy blue looks so bad. It looks so bad because you can't see it. And like when you do see it, you're like, oh, that's slightly off, isn't it?
I got to look again.
Yeah, it's.
See, now it seems pretty clear to me. Versus the black. Again, I'm not saying it looks good, but I can distinguish it pretty easily. But I don't know. I think the font's not half bad though. I kind of like the font.
Font's okay. But that just means they're going to be able to put in new jerseys next year.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, you know, people were going to have to run out and buy their Goodyear edition jerseys anyway.
I don't understand the NBA and the whole logo thing anyway. I mean, I didn't realize that. Isn't there like some sort of
you have to have your name and
team name your city, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Right,
that's what got us that ridiculous thing for a while where the Philadelphia 76ers just had their logo in a box that said Philadelphia along the bottom.
Yep.
But I think that this is
got so many recolors for so many years too.
I think it's an improvement over the old one, kinda. You know, I don't know. Looking at them side by side, I'm not so sure anymore. I was never crazy about the logo prior to this one.
I'm going to be honest.
Primary logo, the actual primary logo, as we will know it, I guess, the C with the sword, that's great. That's really good. I like that. But everything else just doesn't.
I'm talking about the main, like the Cleveland Cavaliers logo with the basketball and the sword and the. It always looks off-centered to me. Like if you put it inside a square, it always looks like because if you center it exactly, it looks really weighted one side to the other or something. I don't know. But
the C and the sword looks good. Even the shield, I don't like the navy blue on black, but even the shield that says Cleveland Cavaliers with the C and the sword, I think is passable.
Right.
The only thing I don't like is the new secondary where it's the shield with the basketball lines. That just looks bad.
See, I kind of like that. But I think I should say I like the idea behind it. I think the execution could have been better. It's a little too – it's too like the line should have been thinner or something. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea, but I don't think they made it too busy, I think. But I kind of dig it. See, and I'm not really crazy about the C and the sword. I've never really cared for that. My favorite logo, though, is the old Cavaliers Cleveland logo with the Cavalier in the middle with the sword. You know what I'm talking about?
Could probably stand to be cleaned up a bit, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, it's got like a Miami Dolphins feel to it. It's so stupid that it works. And this is how many other teams are doing this year in the NBA? Do we know?
Well, we already had the Blazers,
right?
And Timberwolves. Didn't somebody else change?
Oh, that's right. Because the Timberwolves have the rune in it. That's incorrect. Yeah.
Nordic rune.
Right. Yeah. Fucking.
Let me.
I'm going to go back to this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This kind of shit. This is entirely our fault, guys. We are the reason this stuff happens. Us and our 25,000 other logo geeks over on the boards. We're the reason this shit's going on now.
Of course.
It never occurred to anybody before that anyone cared about uniforms, and we came along and whoa, well, let's start doing this, and this.
Is the Sixers Roundel logo, is that new for next season? No, that was this year.
I don't know. Well, it's a Roundel, so it has to be great.
The Sacramento Kings came in this year.
I like their new look a lot. Well, it's actually their old look redone, but I like that one a lot.
So I guess so far it's just Cleveland, Portland, and Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't delve into the depths of the NBA thread, so I don't know if there's more coming that we're supposed to be looking for. But
yeah.
I wouldn't. Again, because the NBA is going through the same thing that the NHL is going through in this upcoming season. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we had more changes. With everybody going over to Nike and Nike wanting to make some money.
Yeah.
But they did it with the NFL, so I mean, if they can do it with the NFL, they can do it with anybody.
Tie game, by the way, guys. Looks like Chris Kunitz. No, who was it?
Jake Gensel, your leading scorer in the playoffs.
I think the Penguins have sort of supplanted the Blackhawks in that they can just score whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Nashville's got Nashville has a 1-0 lead. Pittsburgh be like, whatever, we'll just score.
I think that I
game one.
I know that that from everything I've heard that the Pirds outplayed them top to bottom in game one, and Pittsburgh still won.
They held the Penguins without a shot for 37 straight minutes.
How do you do that?
It was
right. The Penguins had 2 shots in the third period, scored on both of them.
Yeah, it was 3-3 going into the third, and they won 5-3 by scoring on 2 shots. It was insane.
But I don't think the series is going to last very long. I mean, 5 games tops. I just don't see. I don't think that Nashville's got the firepower to hang with these guys.
I mean, the Pirds have. Okay, so the problem is that, to use a political term, the Pirds are a mile wide but an inch deep.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys.
I like that. I like that analogy. That's good.
They got a lot of guys who can score, and that's kind of what's dangerous about them, because you can try to take out 1 or 2 of their key pieces, and they have a lot of people who can pick up the slack. Problem is they don't have that Crosby kind of player, and the problem with the Pens is that they've got the Crosby sort of players. And they've got the Kessel sort of players, and they've got the Malkin sort of players.
Well, and even Chris Kunitz, a guy who's up there in years a little bit and stuff, but he's still a pretty decent player too.
Chris Kunitz, Nick Medino, they've got plenty of guys.
Yeah,
and Nashville, like, as much as Ryan Johansson's a little ball of snot, I hate that kid. He's a big loss for them now. They were able to overcome it in a couple games against the Ducks, but. If he had been out for the full series against the Ducks, it would have been very different. And for him to be out for this entire series against Pittsburgh, it's going to be very different. It's going to be up to Pekka Rinne to basically steal some games here. And the Ducks had figured him out a little bit, but somebody put up the numbers. And in that first round against Chicago, he was, the reason they beat the Blackhawks.
Right, he was a granite wall, man.
Right.
Yeah.
In the second round against the Blues, he was still very good, just a little bit worse in the Chicago series, but still very good. In the Ducks series, he fell down another notch and then gave up 5 goals in game 1 in this series. So as time's gone on, his numbers have kind of regressed back to his regular season mean.
And it's a lot like what we said going into round 2 when we all picked the Blues. We didn't think that Pekka Rinne granite wall could sustain itself, and it turns out we were right. It's just that the drop-off has been a bit slower than maybe.
Well, wasn't his save percentage like in the 960, 970 range in that first series? I mean, you're not going to hold that up, no.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I think, is that Nashville has this is kind of like we got here mentality. So that they're really, if they walk away from this, their season's not a failure, win or lose. Pittsburgh. The only way Pittsburgh.
Greg, Greg, that is a loser mentality.
Well, whatever.
Well, apparently it isn't all of a sudden, but
yeah, well, it used to be, but now it's not. I can't keep. See, that's another thing I can't keep track of anymore. It's like, I don't know. But I think Pittsburgh, obviously it's either they win the cup or it's that's it. It's a waste of time. There's no, and they're just better. I think they're just a better team, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, if they win, they'd be the first team to repeat since
the Red Wings, right?
Of
97-98.
I know you knew, Mike.
Was it that long? I knew it was the Red Wings. I knew it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I just couldn't give it the years.
97-98 Red Wings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 19 years, I guess it would be now. But yeah.
Wouldn't this be Crosby's third cup with these guys?
It'd be Crosby's third. Yeah. Crosby and Malkin's third cup. And,
that's getting right up there with Gretzky-Messier in terms of pairings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one to go for that pairing, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, it puts them in the same pantheon in this generation as the Blackhawks.
Yeah,
both teams with 3 cups, and the Penguins have the addition of back-to-back.
Right.
So the Blackhawks didn't do.
Kings didn't do it.
No, thankfully.
Because the Kings have won 3 now, right?
2.
2? I thought it was 3.
No, just 2.
Okay.
They've been to 3.
All right.
They
because they beat the Rangers in 14?
They beat the Rangers. They beat the Devils in 12 and beat the Rangers in 14. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Wow. The Devils.
And then with Gretzky, they lost to the Canadiens in 93.
Right. That's right. The Devils. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh wins this series pretty easy. 5 games. I mean, I could be way off, but I just don't see the Preds being able to hang with these guys. Like Mike said, they've got that Chicago thing where they're. Well, that's just. I don't even know if it's a Chicago thing. It's just that when you're just that good, it just looks like you can just do whatever you want when you have to do it.
What championship teams do in this league.
Yep.
You either a championship team either has the ability to turn it on whenever they need to, like the Penguins can, like the Blackhawks can, or they have the ability to just not let you do anything, just completely shut you down, and that's something that the Kings had. The Blackhawks had it occasionally too, but they were more offensive minded still.
I don't know.
I think the Bruins had the shutdown ability too for a bit.
Yeah, they did, and then Tim Thomas became like a crazy survivalist.
Yeah. Am I saying okay? Now again, I don't remember much, but it seems to me like that Bruins team should have won more than it did.
They are the 85 Bears, right?
Okay,
they had that one, really good run, and you're like, okay, this team's going to be set up for greatness, and then
it never came through, right?
Well, they beat Vancouver in 7 that first time.
Mm-hmm. Zach with one of the greatest posts of all time after that series too, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice to see at least somebody from Vancouver can score on the road. That's got to be. I think it's one of my top 5 favorite posts ever on the boards. Just saying.
And then they were mere seconds away from forcing a Game 7 against Chicago before the Blackhawks scored twice in 11 seconds. The 2 minutes left in Game 6 to win the cup.
Yeah. And then they've just sort of fallen off from there.
Yeah. I always thought that they were a team, like Mike said, they were kind of set up for long-term success, and it just never really happened. But yeah, this is going to be, I don't know. I mean, maybe the Preds will show me something that I haven't seen yet, but right now I just think that it's Pittsburgh's to lose.
Well, I think Nashville has to win this Game 2 here and tie it up. And then once they go back to Nashville, it'll be interesting to see how they can, if that crowd, if that environment can boost them.
Yeah, but I look at a team like Pittsburgh, and I think they're a team that's just not affected by that. They're kind of like Chicago in that respect. It just doesn't bother them. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. But in the long run, I think at the most it goes 6.
Yeah,
and I think it's Pittsburgh. I've seen a lot of people trying to push this to 7 games because Nashville, the home crowd, and they fought to the end. And I don't see it.
I'm thinking 5.
This is a repeat of last year, where like the first time Cup contenders go up against the Penguins, and the Penguins just slap them down, and they're like,
this will be Pittsburgh's. This will be their 5th cup, right? They got 2 with Mario, and then it's a 5. That's not bad since 1992. Not bad.
Yeah, and all of them were with the Skating Penguin logo. So,
yeah.
You know, there you go.
Thank God they went back to that.
Oh, I liked Robo Penguin.
Oh man, these jerseys are among the best of all time. I think what they're wearing.
They are, but I admit I actually still have a replica of the Robo Penguin away uniform where the gradient chest stripes and the mismatching like sleeve cuffs. I admit I have a soft spot for it, but yeah, Skating Penguin.
Go ahead.
But yeah, this good job, Nashville. But I don't know what else to say. Don't feel bad because you wouldn't be the only team to get outclassed by the Penguins.
They're playing on house money, right?
That is a loser mentality.
Oh no, they're house money. I mean, how could they possibly be disappointed?
I think if they lose in 5, it'll be a kick in the nuts.
Oh, looks like they had a pretty good crowd at their watch party outside the arena there in Nashville. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be. I think it's one of the first times in a long time that I'm actually more interested in the NBA Finals than I am in the Stanley Cup Finals. Because I don't mind seeing Pittsburgh get a repeat win here, and I just don't think this is. If I thought this was going to be a competitive series, I'd be all over it. I just don't think it's going to be. And maybe it'll change my mind. Maybe it'll turn out to be one. But right now, I'm looking at it going, yeah, it's got to show me something first before I'm going to get invested in it.
Honestly, I'm not even that interested in the NBA Finals. Like I thought I would be by the time that we got here. Like, okay, Cavs, Warriors, I want to watch this.
It doesn't have that same. It doesn't have that same like Lakers Celtics feel to it. I don't think.
No.
No,
I don't think so either.
It just kind of seems like. Well, we talked about it last week. It's LeBron's team in the East beat everyone versus Kevin Durant's quest for a ring.
The only interesting thing about this series was taken care of last year when Cleveland finally punched the ticket and finally won that elusive championship. Mm-hmm. That was the storyline. Now this is just like what? Okay, so Durant gets a ring because they put together, the Super Friends and got it done.
Right.
Cleveland repeats.
They already had one of the best teams of all time, and they had one of the best players.
Yeah, or the Cavs repeat, which would be really cool. I mean, that'd be great. But it's just, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I can't believe I'm saying it at all, actually, because I can't believe it happened in the first place. But the Cavs got their title last year. A second one, well, great, is not going to have near the impact the one last year had.
No, but I have seen a lot of people say they want LeBron to rack up as many rings as possible because there are people out there who will forever use the fact that he doesn't have as much as Jordan against him. So I've seen people basically say, I want to see LeBron James win as many championships.
See, I don't get that argument though, because Larry Bird doesn't have as many as Michael Jordan has. And nobody questions his.
Yeah, but nobody has the who's better Bird or Jordan debate. But a lot of people have the who's better Jordan or LeBron debate.
Yeah, well, Michael Jordan never had to play these Golden State Warriors.
No, and Michael Jordan never had to play when he did, he played them a couple times. But Michael Jordan, those Bulls teams didn't have to face those stacked Lakers and Pistons and Celtics teams either. I mean,
came in right after him.
Yeah.
Well, he beat the Lakers in the first one, right?
91 when that Lakers team that was the Vlade Divac, and like Magic's last year, and that Lakers team making the finals was kind of not a miracle, I'll say, but it was unexpected. No one thought they'd go that far. I forget who they knocked off to get there, but everybody was kind of surprised the Lakers made it.
It is kind of nice though, with sort of a passing of the torch moment, I guess.
Yeah.
But
there are people, believe me, Mike, people of my generation have the who's better Bird or Jordan debate. Trust me. Especially like white racist people do. You guys laugh when I say this, but I'm telling you, man, in the 80s, it would disgust you how many people love those Celtics because they could not field 5 black players on the court at the same time. I can't tell you the number of times I heard that bullshit. I like the Celtics because they're the only team in the league that can't start 5 black guys. It's like, what the fuck does that got to do with anything? I think for the first time since the season started, we'll talk a little bit of Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball.
Yes, sir. Oh, my God. The Yankees are in first place. Look at that.
The New York Yankees with the power of Aaron Judge.
That kid's a player, man.
Sensation, heart of gold. Isn't he leading the league in home runs right now?
I couldn't tell you, but I'll tell you this. The only thing that would make them love him more is if he was like Italian or, had some sort of more ethnic name.
I think he's mixed race, but they already.
Oh, there you go.
Is he?
But out in right field, they've already instituted the judges' chambers.
Oh.
Have you not seen these things?
No.
Well, with that name, you knew there were going to be some stuff that was going to happen.
Well, because they took a little section of seats, and you occasionally just name a section, and it's like that's the end of it. They just name the section. Oh no. They've put some effort into this thing out in I think it's in right field.
Yes, he is leading the American League with 17 home runs as of this recording.
God, I'm looking at a picture of it.
There it is. The judges' chambers.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna give a little credit where credit's due. That's almost witty, I think.
Yeah, they made it basically look like a jury box for those that can't see.
That's not bad. Especially for the stodgy old Yankees to do something like that, I think it's actually kind of cool. And
I don't know if it's just a few of the people that sit there, but you get judges. Some of the people are wearing judges' robes.
Oh, jeez.
And it looks like the Yankees are already selling foam gavels. So, here's a better picture of that. So here's.
Are we a little surprised that the Yankees would do something like this? This seems so out of character for them to.
Well, George Steinbrenner's dead, Greg.
Oh, this is true.
Judge's robes with the Yankee logo still.
Nice. I like it. I do. Look at the Yankees trying to act like they have some soul. And they're not just a heartless, monolithic, humongous machine.
I still don't like it because fuck the Yankees. It was true 12 years ago, and it's true now. They are the personification of all that is evil in the world of sports, and I wish nothing but ill upon them.
See, I'm not a Yankee fan at all, but as long as the Red Sox exist, I will never hate the Yankees as much as I hate the Red Sox.
They are two sides of the same coin. They are both pure evil, and they are a twin blight upon the AL East, and only the Blue Jays can save us.
Well, speaking of those Red Sox, of course, they were the favorites to win this division before the season. 3 games back the Yankees, but 1 game up in the wild card. I've forgotten until I saw them on a highlight somewhere again that they have Chris Sale. Did you know that?
Yeah, they've got Chris Sale, David Price. I don't know. I mean, again, now this is going to be sad, especially coming from me, but I've watched a lot of baseball this year. I haven't followed much of it, if that makes any sense. Like I've watched a lot of games, but I haven't really dove in. I haven't really dived into the the stats and the numbers and all that. So I don't, to be completely blunt, I don't know what the hell's going on. Simple as that.
Jesus, stupid Red Sox. Yeah, this AL East is a fucking.
It's a beast, man. Look at that. I mean, the Jays are in last, only a game under 500.
Jays are in last, 1 game under 500, and only 2 out of the wild card spot.
Yeah,
the second wild card, which is currently being held by your Cleveland Indians. Greg.
Yeah, well, that's because they are trailing the Minnesota Twins of all teams.
The juggernaut that is the Twins.
The Twins that were perpetually in last place over the last few seasons.
Yeah.
That had no hope.
Yeah, but just kind of like with the Astros, but to a lesser extent, some of the young players start producing, and all of a sudden here you go, and I think they're starting to come back and be competitive again.
Hold on, I need to pull up their roster because is Joe Mauer still on the team?
Yes, he is. I was watching. Speaking of watching games, I was watching the Twins play the Astros last night, and Joe Mauer stepped to the plate, and I went, "Wow, he's still around." I was surprised.
I'm trying to see if I can name a Minnesota Twin outside of Joe Mauer.
I cannot. I'll tell you right now, I won't even try.
I can do
Urban
one.
Santana.
I can do one. Brian Dozier, second baseman.
I don't know their catchers.
Is Trevor Plouffe still playing third base for them?
Not according to this.
Okay.
I don't know any of their outfielders.
I'm pretty sure Torrey Hunter's not there anymore.
Oh my God! I know none of these guys.
Yeah,
How is this team in first place?
They're young. I don't think it'll last.
How did the Jazz win playoff series in the NBA? Shit just happens sometimes.
Well, I mean that's the Clippers' fault.
That's true.
See, the White Sox are hanging around there. Kansas City. The hell happened to that team, man?
I don't know. Well, I think part of it is that their style of play, when it's working, it works. But boy, if it's not working, you see what happens here.
Like they won the World Series, just 2 years ago?
In 2015. So yeah,
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's nuts.
Well, keep in mind too, we're only a little over a fourth of the way into the season, and they're 5 games out. So I wouldn't write them off just yet.
I'm predicting another 30 years of Royals futility before they win it again. Because didn't it? Last time they won it was 85?
85, yeah. I mean, that's completely that might very well happen. It's hard to say.
So, in 2045, Kansas City Royals, World Series champions. Mark it down.
There you go. The White Sox are the ones that surprised me because they're not supposed to be any good at all this year. So, and I don't think they're going to be.
Also, quick thing on the Twins before we move on. They currently have my favorite uniform in baseball.
Which one?
This one. I dig it.
It's not bad. I tell you what, their new removing the pinstripes from those home uniforms, I think was the smartest thing they've done in a long time. That is a nice jersey, though. That red jersey, that looks good.
I don't like the Twins with the red hat.
Yeah, you put the navy hat on there, that's a good look, I think. But the red hat, I'm not so sure about.
I could deal with that with the navy hat.
But that TC logo, I've always thought it's one of the better ones too. That's just a sharp look.
The TC logo. I won't say it's the best hat logo in baseball because I think that's still the Yankees. I think the Yankees NY is forever going to be the best hat logo in baseball, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. But the Twins, I think it's my favorite. It's not the best, but it's my favorite.
Well, and fortunately, they finally, because remember for a long time they had the M with the
the underline, yeah,
the underline M. Yeah, and I mean, come on, you get the TC. Why would you use anything but that? It's a great look. Yeah. All right. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know if the Twins are built to last. We could be surprised, but I think that this division will straighten itself out as the season progresses.
The best record in baseball belongs to
the Houston Astros. That's a good ball club, man.
Yeah, we mentioned them. I think it was last season or not, but the process has worked out for them.
Yeah,
sucking. And here we are.
They've got some. They've got. I can
half games up on the Angels.
I can. Jose Altuve. George Springer, Correa. Dallas Keuchel came back and is pitching very well this year for the Astros. They can hit. I mean, God, they just was it 2 nights ago. They were down, I think, 8-3 to the Twins, and scored 11 runs in 1 inning. And they're a really, really good ball club. And these guys are legit. I think they're totally for real. And they're already 11 games up at this point.
11
and a half.
They've been really good, and the Angels, again, in traditional fashion, have been garbage. They have no pitching. Nobody can hit outside of Mike Trout. And the best news, Mike Trout out 6 to 8 weeks with a torn ligament in his thumb. Despite him having, leading the league in several categories, being right up there, continuing being probably a future candidate for best player of all time. And we're wasting it.
Congratulations, LA. Good job.
I don't know, but you know what though? We've talked about it before with the Angels. I don't know how you're almost stuck with either wasting him or trading him and trying to get everything you can get for him, because it would take too long for them to build around him to make use of the prime of his career right now. So what do? But you can't trade him because he's Mike Trout.
Trade him to the Yankees because that's what's going to happen inevitably.
Well, yeah,
trade him for Aaron Judge.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll give you the Trout farm for the Judge's chambers.
There you go. I did see Albert Pujols hit home run number 598 a couple nights ago, so that was kind of cool.
Hit home run 599 last night.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's one away from being one of 8 players to hit 600 homers.
Yeah, I hope it never comes out that he was on steroids, because he's always one of my favorite players, and I would just be really disappointed. It'd be nice to know.
He's always been this big, though,
Right,
like,
and
I would think that he's...
It's not a Barry Bonds situation where he pumped up over one off season.
He was big from day one, and he swears up and down that he's been clean the whole time. And you know what, too? He is a guy that as he got older, he slowed down. He didn't get better like Bonds did. He didn't get better like a lot of these guys did. He slowed down. And he's playing like a guy of his ability at his age should be playing right now. Still capable of doing a few things, but not nearly as consistently as he used to. But the Angels, God, they're a frustrating bunch, man.
Yeah,
this division, Jesus. I mean, if you look at it though,
I don't know.
Every division's like this. At least in the American League, it's like.
Yeah, well, in the Angels, in reality, they're only 2 games out of the wild card spot.
Yeah.
Not that means that they're going to be making the playoffs or anything like that, but like, you know, they're a hot streak away from being in contention. And again, it's only a quarter of the way through. It's a very, very long season, so they have plenty of time to drop off.
But if you look at like every division, like in the American League East, it's a lot of you've got the Yankees and then the Red Sox, only 5 games over 500. Everybody else is within a game or 2 in either direction.
Just to give you guys an idea of how crazy the AL East is, Yankees, divisional leader, obviously. Currently, Boston has a wild card spot. And then Baltimore, Tampa, and Toronto are all within 2 games of the second wild card spot.
And then you look at the Central, it's basically the same thing. You've got the Royals are 7 games under, but really there's not a dominant team there. I think the Indians will eventually right the ship and take over that division because I think they're clearly the best team in that division.
Yeah.
But I like seeing the Twins do well, though. I like when the small market teams can pick it up and get something done. And I don't know what to make of the Tigers.
Screw the Tigers.
That's kind of the way I feel, too. And then we've got, of course, our favorite team, the Oakland Athletics, bringing up the rear in the West.
God, that team sucks, too.
They do.
Billy Bean, might be time for him to move on.
It's easy to make fun of him, but there are no economic deficiencies that he can exploit anymore because everybody's figured it out.
Yeah, he gamed the system, but then everyone else caught up, and now he's
even the best teams, the money spending teams use the same kind of numbers and strategy that everybody else does. So.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having what the knowledge that Bean had back when he put together those good A's teams in the early 2000s with the money, like the bankroll that the Yankees or the Dodgers have. I mean, Jesus, forget it, right?
Right.
Is that right? The Milwaukee Brewers are in first place in the Central? We haven't gotten to the East yet, but look at the Nationals. The Washington Nationals, now we like to call teams the San Jose Sharks. These guys are your Major League Baseball version of the Sharks.
Oh, no, we were Mike and I, while you were gone, Greg, in our little break, Mike and I have already mapped out the National League playoffs.
Okay.
It's going to start to finish.
All right, let's hear it.
Cardinals, despite being 6 games back in the wild card right now, they will make the second wild card spot. They will be 8 games behind the Colorado Rockies at that point. And they will beat the Colorado Rockies in the 1-game playoff. They will then sweep the Nationals in the first round. Then they will play the Dodgers in the NLCS, where Clayton Kershaw will forget how to pitch in St. Louis, as he does year after year in the playoffs. And then the Cardinals will beat the who do we say? The Yankees in the World Series?
Yep, Yankees in the World Series.
So the Cardinals are going to go like 80 and 82, slip into a wild card, and win the World Series. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
All right. Sounds about right.
Everyone in St. Louis will clap politely, saying that even though they were under 500, they proved they were the best team in the league.
Yeah. Well,
your World Series MVP goes to Matt.
I don't know. Quadruple Jesus is going to come up and win that thing one of these years. I'm telling you. If you're a Cubs fan, are you concerned right now?
I think you should be, but at the same point, you're still 2 games out of first. You still have the best lineup in that division.
Here's my thinking on it, though. I think that I'll even use the team that's right below them in the standings. If the Cincinnati Reds won the World Series last year, it's a big deal, but it's not. There was not a World Series winner, I think, in the history of baseball that was a bigger deal than the Cubs winning it last year. You've got to think that that's got to be the biggest World Series hangover in World Series hangover history. And I think that's what you're seeing.
I'm sure there's still bloodshot eyes.
Right.
In that.
And I think that's what you're seeing here. Again, very good lineup, and I can't see this team wallowing around the 500 mark for the entire season. So I wouldn't be too concerned yet. But I'll tell you what, we get to July 4th and they're still in this position, I start getting a little bit worried. Because
I would too, but wouldn't it be the most Cardinals thing ever to win the World Series the year after the Cubs finally get theirs?
No, I think what the most Cardinal thing would have been to do is to beat them in the NLCS last year.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. The Central just seems like it's still all too close together for you to really put a read on it. Because Milwaukee can't be that good. St. Louis could be, but the Cubs aren't this bad either.
No, the Cubs. I mean, clearly on paper, the Cubs are the best team in that division by a good bit too. It's not even really close.
Yeah.
And the Pirates, their window opened slightly and closed right away again. That's done. It's going to be a while before they get back into being a playoff contender again.
The Nationals, I mean, they're good. They're a good team, as they always are. Bryce Harper having an incredible season.
Yep.
You know, he's up there with some of the best players in this league right now too. And if he wasn't such a jerk most of the time, he might be a lot more people's favorite player.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how that works out because he's another guy. I mean, you've got Trout and Harper, and Trout. Mike Trout's not like an exciting personality.
No, he's flat as a board.
But he can flat out play. And then you got Harper. Oh, I'm getting a weird echo here. Okay. Anyway, and then you got Harper, who is pretty good. I don't think he's as good as Trout, but he's a really good player too. But he's a jackass, and nobody likes him. Yeah. It's just weird how that. It's just like, dude, you could be. You're on the East Coast. You're in a pretty good sized market in Washington, and you should be bigger, but you're a jackass.
Yeah, I mean that fight in the Giants game on Monday was ridiculous.
I hope his arm's more accurate than that when he's trying to throw a ball in from the outfield.
Okay, yeah, sure. You get hit by a pitch. You're bad. All right. But you're going to go straight at the pitcher. I see people are making fun of him for the helmet throw. I think as he's running up, he's like, okay, I'm going to get in a fight, but I'm trying not to, I'm so mad I want to throw my helmet, but you're not actually going to throw your helmet at the pitcher.
Yeah.
Oh, you fool.
You get halfway through, and then he just, God damn it, and just throws it to the ground. And then goes to beat the.
But I will say this on his defense: that guy drilled him on purpose. There's no question about it. That was an absolute purpose pitch, and I don't blame him for charging the mound at all. But baseball's got to get rid of that shit. Though somebody's going to get killed. I mean, I know even the old school is that's the way the game's played, and we've talked about the unwritten rules numerous times, but this is one that's got to go. There is no place in this game to be hitting players with the ball like that. It's just not right, and that's got to stop. But it was ridiculous.
Hey, how else are the Cardinals supposed to punish people who disrespect the game?
This is true. That's a good point. I have to agree. Well, remember when they did that? I think they were playing the Dodgers a few years back, and one of the Cardinals would stand outside the dugout, and then the other, a Dodger guy, and they got into the stare-off, and it got totally fucking ridiculous. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
That's how the Cardinals punish people, I guess. I don't know.
They just glare at you.
Right.
Speaking of the Dodgers, all that money is finally paid off. For the first time all season, they took first place in the NL West yesterday.
From the mighty Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, they had to overcome the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. What the hell is going on over there, man? I don't the Dodgers, okay, you're a good team, and maybe you struggle a little bit, and you're finally back to where you should be. The Rockies, I mean, they have some offensive talent, but, I mean, as far as I know, they don't have any pitchers, especially
not that I know of.
Not up there.
No.
And I couldn't tell you what the hell is with the Diamondbacks. I guess they have some pitching and Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, they had a team. They had a good young team that was starting to come around a couple of years ago, and then they kind of had a backslide year last year.
Yeah.
And they're kind of getting it together again this year. But you got Paul Goldschmidt. You got some good players on that team, and but again, really looking at it, the Dodgers should be walking away with this thing.
Sure.
And the Giants are a disappointment this year. And then the Padres, you want to talk about a team that's not going to win anything ever again, Mike. There's your team, the Padres.
Jesus.
They can't even figure out what uniform to wear, let alone how to put a winning team on the field.
Every time they unveil a new uniform, the same thought goes through my head, courtesy of CCSLC user BuckFan. Can someone just euthanize this team? Because they clearly don't know what they're doing.
Well... But yeah, so it's we got a long way to go yet, but I think you got a couple of teams that are a bit disappointing, like the Mets, the Royals.
How's Frankie Midnight
with
dealing
the Padres?
with the Mets there?
Oh Jesus, that's still going on?
God, the Mets are such a shit show, man.
Yeah, they are. Oh, that whole Matt Harvey thing, I don't even get that. I don't know what the hell that was all about. When he decided just not to show up.
No, he stayed out too late, and I guess had to deal with his girlfriend like hooking up with another dude at a club that night or something. I don't know.
I don't care. You're a Major League Baseball player. You have to play.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
But the before we completely get off of it, just to illustrate what the situation the Padres have put themselves in this division. The Padres opening day payroll for the players on their opening day roster, $28 million.
Ooh.
Clayton Kershaw is making $33 million.
Right, I know. Wow. That's not even making an attempt. And I don't recall the Padres.
That's some Florida Panthers mid-2000s level.
Well, and that and I don't even remember them like having a bunch of prospects that they're going to or anything. I think it just sounds like they're just being cheap.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's one thing when you're the Astros, or we're seeing it now with the Twins, you know, or the Royals a few years ago, where you're building towards something, but I think the Padres just aren't spending any money.
No, and like they needed guys to fill out the roster, and so Jared Weaver, who by all accounts was
oh my god, I know,
I'm ready to retire. I've had a nice long run in Anaheim. I'm just going to sail off. Well, Jared, if we could talk to you for a second, this is the Padres. We have an opening day roster spot on our pitching staff. If you'd like it, I mean, you'll pay me for it. Yeah, we'll pay you for the whole season. Yeah. All right, sure, fine.
I don't blame him a bit for taking the money, but that guy was never, even when he was good, he wasn't that good. Yeah. And at this point in his career, I saw him pitching. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy's still around.
Yeah,
you can't tell me there's not a AAA player that they could bring up and get beat up on.
I don't blame the dude. Like, if someone wants to pay me to play baseball, right, and just vacation in San Diego and play baseball on the side, sure, okay.
Yeah, I think Jared Weaver's the Matt Flynn of Major League Baseball at this point, right?
Yeah.
Man.
He's probably getting shelled every time out, but he doesn't care.
Right.
Like, he's literally just doing this as a favor almost.
Yeah, I mean, like, some teams you can see a plan, and with the Padres, I just see a team that's not spending any money.
Well, I mean, this is why they have no consistency in their jerseys, because they're not trying to sell any. They're just testing some stuff out. Like, do people like this? No, I guess not. And it's a shame too, because man, Petco is one of the greatest parks.
And my understanding too is that the San Diego people, they love the Padres. I mean, they're behind them. You know, they got a good fan base, right? Or am I wrong about that?
They got no one else.
No,
well, even before that, though.
When the Padres are any shred of being decent, yeah. And it was harder even when the Padres were good. It was hard for them to get people to go to games at Qualcomm or Jack Murphy Field, as it was called when they played the baseball games. And because the place sucked. Like, it sucks for football, but it was awful for baseball. But with as nice of a stadium it is, and where in its location downtown, right in the Gaslamp district, all the stuff to do around there, just it's the perfect situation for a baseball stadium in any city in the country. I would argue.
Oh, it's a gorgeous park too. I mean, it's just everything about it's like spot on perfect, man. I mean,
not only does it look great, but the food inside is great, and the it's perfect.
Yeah.
But they put out the worst examples of baseball teams that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I know that they've always been like this too. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that this team went to the World Series twice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I think made the playoffs a couple other times. But that's the thing, though, with the Padres. They are in a situation where they could really, really do some cool stuff. Spend a little bit of money, put a good team on the field, and the sky's the limit. Especially with the Chargers being out of town now.
Right.
Go back to the brown uniforms too. God.
Yeah.
Just be a baseball team, Padres.
Everybody wants the brown. No one. I mean, I don't know. Fuck them. Who knows what they're going to do?
I mean,
the good news is
I have a. What do I have? Is it a Mark Kotze? Padres, like, it's not necessarily just a jersey. It's like halfway in between a batting practice jersey and a T-shirt. It's like high duty fabric.
The big star name for the Padres, Mark Kotze.
Well, hey, It was a free T-shirt back in the day.
Yeah.
And I like the Padres a lot, and I want to get a Padres hat. I don't know what look to settle on.
Well, see, I got
brown one.
I got the blue one with the white SD on it because it was on sale. Yeah. But what I really want is I want the brown, the old Taco Bell hat. They have the Cooperstown version of it, but I look at it, I go, I got nothing I can wear that with, you know?
I liked the one they put out with the alternate. I think it was a couple years ago, where it was just a brown. It was basically the regular design, just in brown and gold. Yeah, just with the brown base and then the gold letters. I like that.
Well, they've already got the brown alternate jerseys now. I mean, let's finish the deal, guys. Come on.
This, you know what? The good news is that as far as their uniforms go, they can't strip any more colors away because they're down to just gray and blue. Yeah, like there's nothing else they can do to screw it up.
Yeah.
So. And everything about that, we've covered this before, but I just find it incredibly entertaining that even the latest Padres redesign was completely uninspired, right down to the way in which they unveiled it. They just took pictures of the jerseys on crooked mannequins and just released it on social media. And new jerseys, I guess.
Oh man, if I ever won the $5 billion lottery, I would buy the Padres because you could really have something great up there.
I don't think you need $5 billion.
Well, I'd want to add money left over for me too. You see.
Well, you guys do the things in your sports video games where you take the worst team in the league and try to make them into a champion.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy would do this every other weekend because we just had the free time, and we'd always fix the Padres because it's just now and forever. We've been fixing the Padres for the past 10 years.
Yeah, what does that say about them, though? They're always fixable in video games. Never changes. Yeah. Never changes.
I mean, it's pretty easy to make trades in some of these video games, too. But,
Yeah.
When Mike Trout becomes the star of the San Diego Padres, I may have gamed the system a little bit.
I just always create my own players. That way I don't have to move players. Yeah. I just put okay, they need a first baseman. I'll create a good first baseman, a good center fielder, et cetera, et cetera. That way I'm not messing up the rest of the teams, and that's how I make
I just get a kick out of franchise mode when it gets to the certain point where there are no more current players in the league, and it just starts making up players.
And you start getting guys like Muhammad, what was that guy's name I told you? It was he had the Arab first name and Jewish last name. It was Mohammed Schomburg or something like that. It's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. And then
the NHL ones are great because you get these American or Canadian first names with these Swedish and Finnish last names. It's Ryan Yarkinen.
Yeah. And then every now and then
you'll get Timu Smith. It's no. All right.
And then
Jeff Dvorak.
Great. And then it's great because sometimes players with those sort of names will actually show up in the league, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
we done?
I guess so.
All right. I will. What was I going to say? Oh, I was just looking at the brown Padres jerseys. They would look good as a full-time look. I'm just saying. Hats too, but. What
Stanley Cup Finals update is still 1-0.
Yeah, I had 1-1. 1-1. 3:43 to go in the second.
1-0. Yeah, 1-1.
Yeah, this second period got a little nasty, so maybe.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of got a little chippy there.
I don't know. I still can't.
Look at our boy Phil playing the defense there.
I still have trouble locking in on this thing. I look up on it every now and then. I'm just
I will pay attention, but I'm not terribly invested in it. All right, folks, we're going to call it a night. You know the whole routine. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website, basicallysports.tumblr.com. You can check out all the old episodes there. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, or YouTube, and find us on Facebook.
See you.
Later.